Hey guys, today is an epic day at Legacy Collectibles because I have an epic video for you. Now, I don't overuse that word. This is truly epic. We are partnering with a display safe company. Basically, you put a safe up on the wall so you can display your collection. And so it motivated me. They just came in today. We were so excited. The large safe is 100 pounds you hang on the wall. The smaller safe is 40 pounds. I'm going to show those to you. But it motivated me to go to the safe and get some of my best guns just to show you. So you definitely are going to want to check this out. Okay, here it is. This is the display safe. This is the smaller one. Now, I've never been aware of any display safe that is specifically made for guns. And if you're like me, I buy really high-end guns and I put them away in the safe. And after a while they get buried and people say, "Show me what you have." I hate going back and forth. I never want to put them on display because they need to be safe, particularly if you have kids or grandkids in the house and you tell them not to touch it, but you turn your back and they're touching your guns. Anyway, a display safe is such a great idea, and these are specifically made for these guns. Now, the way they stay in place is by a very strong magnet, so you're not hanging them anywhere. You don't see any wires or pegs or anything like that. They go on a magnet that is super powerful. You put it up against there, it's actually hard to pull off. But the outside of the safe looks like this, and you can even jazzercise it. Jazz it up, I mean. This is also a magnet, it pops on here. And you say, okay, that's pretty impressive. That would look nice on my wall. How about this? There's low lighting, then you've got medium lighting, and then full lighting. How cool is that? Now, this is plexiglass, half-inch thick. It's bulletproof. I think it won't take a 50 caliber bullet. But basically, any safe anybody can break into a safe, including our bank vault, which we called a company to open up. It took them about 20 minutes to open them up. So no safe is perfect, but this is certainly going to keep any low-level intruder, your grandkids, your kids. Nobody's going to get into this because this is bulletproof, crowbar-proof, really hard to get into, really well secured. Now, obviously, you want to mount this on the wall. We have it here because 40 pounds, for us to mount it on the wall, I would have it professionally done. And it always goes into at least 2 studs. The larger one can go into 3 or 4 studs in several places. So you're anchored into the wall. Nobody's going to pull that out unless they have a lot of time in your house. When I was growing up, I used to hear the story about don't put your light under a bushel. You want everybody to see your light. And this reminds me of that because I want people to be able to look at my display and say, wow, you're the coolest guy around. Now, I don't like this mode, but this is your psychedelic look. So this is the psychedelic look, and you can speed it up. But I think that might cause me to, yeah, there you go. You have that on. I guess if you're having a rave party in your display room, this would work out real well. But anyway, I'm going to go back just to the light, and that's the setting I like. Now, I'm going to, well, let's just open it up. We have the key, and it's not easy to open, and this is very heavy. It's just take my word for it. It's very heavy. Goes all the way back. You can see this is the plexiglass, about a half-inch thick. And there's layers of metal here, around here. It's just really would be difficult to break into. What I have in here is one of my gold engraved with the ivory grips. And you can see from the serial number, it's an early gold engraved. Even the screw is engraved right there. And 60-degree safety. This one is, this is bare metal with some bluing here, bluing here. The reason why it's mixed, like it's not silver or gold, it's kind of mixed colors, is because it was never issued. See, notice there's no crown end or eagle end here or here, none on the barrel. You can see that it's in the 215 serial range, which there's about 100 engraved guns all in that range. But it tells me it was made in about 1938, 39. But was still in the factory at the end, and so when the GIs came in, perhaps this was in parts, because it looks like they just grab a set of grips. These are not ivory or anything special. Also, they grabbed a magazine because they thought, oh, look, that finish works out well. But In fact, it says 9mm. It doesn't look like it's 9mm. It looks like it's .32 caliber, but again, put together from parts, just put it together. We've got blue, like I said, this is blued, trigger's blued, the hammer's blued, and then some of the small parts are blued. So that's an engraved gun, and this is a very early, notice the 90-degree safety. This is a silver engraved, one of the early ones with an early style grip that I just don't see very often, but this was a specialty made grip for the PPK, and again, that would be crown and proofed. The serial number, by the way, is notice how early it is 7844, which I think is about 1930 to 31. The bottom is engraved as well. And then finally, we have a party leader PPK in the correct range for 1938. Makes for a nice display. Now you can also just put one gun in there if you want to. Here's a picture of my Krieghoff that if I wanted to, this is the engraved Krieghoff. I think one just sold on Rock Island for a little over $100,000. So it's certainly safe worthy. That's a phrase I'm going to use from now on when I talk about a gun being safe worthy. This smaller safe will easily run about $1,000, but if you have a gun that is safe worthy, here I have a display is about $100,000 worth of guns. It's worth it to spend $1,000 to keep them safe. Put them to bed at night, turn out the light, and there you go. You can sleep safely knowing that if somebody's going to break in and get those, they're going to have to work at it for a very long time, and long enough for you to go get a backup piece. Now, this is the smaller safe. Let's go take a look at the bigger one. Okay, here we are for part two. This is the bigger safe, and let me just say, that is 100 pounds. Hanging on the wall, again, you need 2 or 3 guys. You're going to put it in 3 or 4 studs. You're going to use toggle bolts that they're going to have to tear the whole wall down to get this safe down. And it's extreme, you know, just every part of it is so solid. You'll notice we have a different background. These come with different backgrounds you can use. Here's a couple examples. You get 3, I think it's 3 different examples of backgrounds. So you can change it out, but probably once you get this set up, you're not going to want to mess with it. And obviously it goes on the wall. Now, if you already stopped watching, then shame on you because you thought those last few guns were incredible. This is absolutely incredible. If Mark Felton's out there watching this, he likes to do videos about Nazi weapons, and he's done a few, does a great job. I love his channel, but right here we have Himmler, presentation gun to the snipers. Doenitz, Admiral Doenitz, that's his baton. This is a presentation Krieghoff from Goring, and this is Hitler's shotgun. At one time or another, you've probably known that we have these. These are guns that are owned by Legacy, have not been offered for sale before, but sooner or later they will be, and some lucky person is going to want to buy one of these. I'm going to open this up just to show you how difficult. I also, you'll notice the light is on, and this has the same features where we can turn the lighting down even more, or all the way up, and then you can do the blinking lights, which doesn't really impress anybody other than a former disco dancer. I'm going to open this up, which is not real simple, but then it opens by itself. I'm just making sure it doesn't fall over. And you can, I'm going to close it down. I want you to hear. First, well, watch this. This takes 2 hands. I got to grab it and pull down. Great strength. Listen to the latch. It really does sound like a safe. All right, we open this back up again. And I already teased you with the guns. So let's start with this. This was the signed by Himmler. These were presented in late 44, early 45. It was for 100 kills by a sniper. So these went to the snipers. It says for the sharpshooters. H. Himmler. This is known by serial number and published in a book, documented. And these sell in the $50,000, $60,000 range. This is, you've seen before. I've done videos about this. Actually, I've done short, long. This is a Krieghoff. It's platinum finish. You can see the beautiful ornate grips. This part is not engraved in the same way with the one that sold recently on Rock Island. I think it had a wooden grip, but it had a similar engraving. And then it's marked 1939, and it was Goring ordered these. I don't know how many. They think there are probably about 20 of them, and gave them out to Luftwaffe aces and or hunting buddies. This one, we've done a whole video on this, and I probably will re-release it because I actually sold this. Sold it for about $30,000 and got it back when the collector passed away. I will be offering it if somebody is interested at some point. It will be for sale. It came in this case. Here's the case that came with it, and you will see the German writing here. And I have the translation right here. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "To our respected Grand Admiral, on the day of your release from prison, and to replace the lost symbol of your high standing, the officers and men of the German U-boat services, Berlin Spandau, October 1st, 1956. He was put in prison. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was put in prison in 1946, and he served until 1956. He was captured by the British, and the British took his original baton, and it's actually in a British museum. We have pictures of it. People know, and if you've been to the London, I think it's the Armory, they have his original baton. But his men, and when I did the video, people said, this means more to me than the original one that Hitler gave him, because this was from his men who appreciated and were loyal to him all the way to the end of the war and until he finished his prison sentence. So that's the inscription on it. Again, went to Grand Admiral Doenitz, and this is the case that it comes in. So if you have something like this, but you can never show anybody because you don't want it to get stolen, what's the point? So that's the reason you want to look at a display case. Beautiful piece of history. And then the final one, this is a drilling. You can see the 3 barrels, dry. 1, 2, 3, drilling. And you notice it's short. Actually, in 1933, Hitler and Goring visited the Krieghoff factory. And while they were actually inspecting them because Krieghoff wanted to start making Lugers again. I think they visited the factory, it was either late 33, early 44. They did get a contract, and the contract was to make about 10,000 Lugers, Krieghoff Lugers, starting in about 1935. They started production. So as a thank you, they gave Himmler a shotgun, and that's documented because he used to use it to go hunting. It doesn't make sense that they gave Himmler a gift, but not Hitler. So it is theorized that this was given to Hitler at the same time, but because he was a hunter, he just stuck it in a closet. It was picked up by somebody from the 101st Airborne, and yeah, we do have documentation. It was in a closet in Hitler's Birch's Garden, the kind of a castle, but it was his mountain home. You can see right here, and Goring's, the point I was going to make, Goring's is exactly like this with his initials right here, except his shotgun was a little bit longer. So this was specially made, I guess, because Hitler was obviously shorter. He didn't hunt, so I doubt that he ever used it. You can see here there's a place for the ammo. That's actually the rifle rounds. And you can see here AH. And I probably will do an entire video on this. It certainly is worthy of a video. I've had this for about 8 years now, and there are a couple people who have written about it. These are really just teasers, doesn't do it justice. I do need to do a full-length video just about that shotgun and how it was found at a farmer's home out in the Midwest. But it has been shown to other people. And you've heard me say over and over again, the Germans destroyed all the records at the end of the war. They didn't want the Allies to go knocking on doors saying, we have on record that you own this gun. So they destroyed all the records, all serial numbers. The only reason that Goring's is documented is because he had a hunting lodge and he was seen using his, and they have the serial number from that information. But there's no record that this went to Hitler. There probably never was a record. But having looked at, this is Randall Gibson, wrote the book on Krieghoffs, Randall Gibson. And here's the only part you need to know. He talks about the drilling. There's the serial number, AH. And he says, I feel that is very likely that this is Adolf Hitler's gun. Very likely is about as good as you're going to get in terms of are we sure? And then we have the letters from the family who said, Dad brought this home from the war. Actually, they kept it under the bed for 50 years. Then there's also, this is from American Shooting Journal. They did a whole article, is this Hitler's shotgun? Well, first of all, it's not a shotgun, it's a drilling. And you can see here, they have a picture of the gun, of the engraving. And their conclusion is the same as Gibson's, is most likely this was Hitler's shotgun. So you never know what you're going to see here at Legacy Collectibles. I'm excited. You can see why I'm excited. I've had these things in a safe. They rarely come out. Now I can put them on display. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not a safe seller, I'm a collector, but I am a person who would like to preserve the history and make sure I keep it safe, and from time to time have them on display so people can come over and enjoy them as much as I do, and I assume you do as well. So for that reason, I hope you enjoyed the video.